Hi guys, good morning. So I'm going to go ahead and apologize. I don't know if you'll be able to hear it, but just like in our last video, they are still doing some construction and things. So if you hear any noises, I'm sorry. There's not really anywhere else I can film that is quieter, so we're doing our best. Hopefully you won't hear anything, but just in case. All right, so today we're going to do our second review of the French Revolution. So remember, your homework is going to be to take notes, just like last time. So this is all stuff we've learned before, but we're just reviewing it to help you remember so that when we take our tests, you'll have notes that'll be helpful. Financial crisis. France had a financial crisis because of how much money they owed. So remember last time we talked about how King Louis XIV spent a lot of money, and because France lost 4 wars, they spent a lot of money fighting wars. So they owe a lot of money to people. The king built a huge palace, and the country lost several wars. As a result, they increased taxes people had to pay. So here in parentheses, I've written the one that we looked at on our virtual field trip. So what that means is the palace that the king built is that place we looked at when we did our little virtual field trip. And I pulled up the Palace of Versailles for you, and we were able to walk around outside. That's the place we're talking about. So the Estates General had a meeting about this, and they wanted to solve the problem. So they wanted to find a way to fix the fact that France owed people a lot of money. The Estates General, remember, there is 1 vote per estate, and there are 3 estates. So they get 3 votes to decide things. The clergy and the nobility usually work together to outvote the 3rd estate. So they kind of ganged up on the 3rd estate so that the 3rd estate couldn't ever get what they wanted. They met in Versailles, the big palace we looked at, in May of 1780. There were arguments about voting, and there were arguments about like how to vote, and so they started having arguments during their voting. The 3rd estate said that the way they voted was not fair to everyone, because it wasn't fair that 2 people could decide to vote one way just so that the other one couldn't get what they wanted. So the National Assembly. This is when the Estates General argued for weeks, and then the 3rd estate got fed up and created their own government. June 17, 1789, they declared themselves in the National Assembly, and they said that they were their own government and that they would make decisions on their own for the people. The king gets involved. Louis XIV locked the 3rd estate out of the hall where the National Assembly was meeting. So he said, you know what, if you can't follow the rules, you can't be in here. Go outside. Just like I do in class whenever you're not doing what you're supposed to do. The National Assembly just met on the tennis court instead. So they said, fine, if we can't meet in the meeting hall, we'll just go outside and meet on the tennis court. So the king allows them to rejoin the group and tries to make all of the people happy, because he doesn't want them to try and start their own government. So he's trying to make everybody happy. Storming of the Bastille. There was rioting in Paris in July. On July 14th, a group of rioters take over the Bastille armory and prison. They free prisoners and steal weapons, then they destroy the building itself. The Great Fear. This is when peasants, or poor people, living in the countryside destroyed the homes of nobility. So they were so angry at how they were being treated that they just went and destroyed people's houses. Anybody who was rich, they destroyed their house, took their things. Sometimes they burned their house down or killed the people inside. It was very not nice. This caused the National Assembly to abolish, which we know means to get rid of, feudalism. The Declaration of the Rights of Man and Citizenship. This was on August 27th, 1789. They were establishing Enlightenment ideas, described the basic freedoms and rights that all people have. So we remember that the 3 main things they talked about All men are free and have equal rights. 2, the goal of government is to protect the rights of the people. And 3, the power of the government should be divided among several people, not all given to one leader. So the next one, the March of the Women. The lower class people were still unhappy. They're still poor, still hungry, but they were free. Thousands of starving women marched to Versailles and demanded that the king listen to them. Louis was forced to move back to Paris to answer for his crimes. And then this is the last thing that we talked about. Civil constitution of the clergy. So the financial crisis was a solution to the financial crisis. The National Assembly took all of the property that belonged to the church and sold it to the people. The reason they sold it to the people was so they could use the money to buy or to pay for their debts. This caused the role of the church to change. We talked about that a lot last week, so we're not going to talk about it too much today. So your homework is to send me a photo of your notes. Save your notes because you can use them on the test we will have. Okay? So all you have to do today is send me a picture of your notes. And next week, we're going to get started learning about the end of the revolution and then reviewing for the end of the quarter. I hope you guys have a fantastic day. Let me know if you have any questions, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow.